So, so let me give you another example what that is. Um, Choni Hamagel, very good. But there was one other thing that just popped in my head. It just went away. It'll come back in a minute. Okay, I forgot what it is. But right, it's right. I said that he says, so too I will plant for my children. Right. But there was something else that popped in my head besides Choni Hamagel. Okay, it'll come to me eventually in the middle of the night, probably, and I'll call you all. Okay, so let's go back now and talk a little bit about that when people are doing nor do they really have in mind that this is really to help bring the Geula Shlema. What's the big deal? I'm asking rhetorically, of bringing the Geula, the redemption. It is impossible for the heavenly kavod, honor, to get expanded and to grow. What will ultimately bring the true kavod to Hashem in the world? The Geula. So therefore, if we want the true kavod for Hashem, we should be focusing on, channeling our energies towards making sure that Geula happens. And everything we do that works against it minimizes the ultimate kavod Hashem. This relies one on the other for real, meaning the kavod Hashem, so where it's supposed to be and should be and will be Bezrat Hashem, depends on us. It goes hand in hand. As it said, the Tana of Eliyahu that I already mentioned, a person groans, he's saddened by the lack of respect and kavod for Hashem and for Yisrael. There's a very big difference between, let's say you read the news, which I don't recommend. I'm telling myself, you read the news and you see a story that's just another anti-Israel piece, whatever it is. It could be like, oh, there they go again. You can internalize it and make yourself feel bad about it, which sometimes I will do. Or if it's something you have a voice. We all have contacts in Israel and outside of Israel. And whether it's through Facebook or Twitter or just an email or whatever it might be, or your family group, anything in WhatsApp, let me tell you like this. I know a lot of people, let's just say in Chicago, where I'm from, who truly do care about Israel. They really do. But ask in general, do you know what's going on? And even more so, do you know about the anti-Semitism that's going on in the world? Most people, the answer is really no, especially about the anti-Semitism. I said, did you hear what happened in Memphis the other day? I'm making one up. No. Did you hear what happened in London? You heard in New York 4 times yesterday? Did you hear what? There's just a list. All I have to do is go online and say recent anti-Semitic activity, right? List hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of things. Just yesterday, there was a new poll that said American Jews, 40% of American Jews who identify as Orthodox Jews will not, I'm obviously not talking about Hasidic looking garb, will not wear something that identifies themselves as Jewish in public. I shouldn't say Orthodox, Jews in general. Won't be a kippah that won't wear it. There won't be a Magen David, won't be anything like that. Obviously, people who are dressed in black and white, that's just the way they're dressed. I'm talking about that. I'm talking about someone who's going to go somewhere in public. And I will tell you very proudly that in all the years I lived in Chicago, now the anti-Semitism that exists today is not how it was when I was there, even though it's not terrible right now in Chicago. There's some. It wasn't really always really that bad. But there are certain areas most people would be afraid to go or wouldn't want to go. I will tell you that I worked in a company for many years, had my kippah on all the time. I literally took it off one time. I had to go to see a supplier in some neighborhood that I didn't really feel comfortable in. So I didn't even take, like I'm not a Jewish hat, baseball cap kind of thing. You can always tell who's walking around like I'm not Jewish with that baseball cap. But other than that, no, yeah. I don't even know what you'd look like without a baseball cap on. But they're afraid to show their Judaism. They're afraid. That's the climate right now. We learn from the list. There are 2 factors in this topic. forgot what these paragraphs are about. It should make your blood boil, not to the point where it does sometimes for me make you sick, but it should really get under your skin, but make you want to do something about it. There's yet another area of kavanah when it comes to chasidut. Hu tovat hador. Now, this is a big ask. It's a very big ask. And let me explain to you what this is. Let's back up a second. At a time, we don't do it too often in Israel, but in Chutz La'aretz happens pretty often that you have to do an Eruv Tavshilin. When Chag runs into Shabbat, it happens here when we have a 3-day Rosh Hashanah, which we don't have this year, but the following year, Tavshin Pei Hey. Why do I know that already? Don't ask. I was planning something already down the road. Nuts. And so we do an Eruv Tavshilin, which basically allows us on Thursday, but on Friday to prepare for Shabbat. Whether it's cooking, lighting a fire, continuing a fire, doing other things, setting the table, all these things you do to prepare on Friday for Shabbat. There is a line in the end of the word that you say, and for all those who live in this city. So I actually took it upon myself years ago here. I know other people do it, but I still decide to do it anyways, because I know certain rabbis do it in other cities outside of Israel, that I in front of another person outside my own home, when Andy does or I do it, I'll say it, I say, Din B'Zaka, everyone in the city. So in case someone forgot, I'll come to halacha on that in a second. What does that mean, though? I mean, how can I do something for you? Right? I said, well, if he forgot to do Erev Tavshilin, he can be somech on mine, rely on mine. How? So first of all, just what the halacha is. Let's say Mr. X forgot to do a Erev Tavshilin. So if that Chag, he can rely on mine or anybody pretty much who said Erev Tavshilin, because it says, all who live in this city. Forgot a second time, you still be relying on it, but that's it. You cannot rely on it again. If you mess up, I don't know if it's at the second or the third. No, at all. No, anytime. As far as I remember, it's not consecutive, but I don't remember if it was 2 or 3. Remind me, I'll look into it. Okay. You cannot rely on somebody else's if you forgot. You can do it. You can still make it the Erev Tavshilin the next year, but you can't, if you forgot, you can't say, oh, it's fine. I'll rely on so-and-so. Okay. See, I have to look into that. But why is it that I can do that? Right. So I'll give you another example. Okay, so I make a bracha on water in my house, and now you can drink in your house water without a bracha. What's the difference? Good. Okay, but what's the difference between my making a bracha in my house for shakol, and then you drinking water in your house? I have you in mind. That doesn't work, right? Right. So what's the some things that we can do? Like I can make Havdalah 50 times if I want, right? As long as that's someone that needs to hear Havdalah. I also did. Where did I learn that? I went to the Kotel many years ago as a visitor. And I had a group with me, and we were davening Motzei Shabbat at the Kotel. While we're in the middle of Shemona Esrei, off to the side, I hear someone making Havdalah. I said, oh, man. I said to myself, we missed Havdalah. I said to somebody, he laughed at me. I said, why? He says, he makes about 70 times. Because every time people come over after another minute, you can make, as long as someone needs to hear it, you can make as many times as you want. Yeah. So, what? Kiddush as well. But why? What's the difference between, but it doesn't work if I make Havdalah in my house. I said, oh, Eric is down the block. It doesn't work. So there are different things, different rules. So first when it comes to Birchot HaNehenim, bracha like on food you want to make, even though theoretically, if you have water and I say shakol, you say amen, you can drink, the halacha is it's better if you know how to make your own bracha. Okay, so I can't do it somewhere else. Best I could do is in front of you. Let's say you're learning brachot, you want to just say amen, you don't know how to say the words. Okay, best to say your own bracha. When it comes to mitzvot, we are we all responsible for that. That's why I could make Havdalah for you or for you, and you could be Yotzei as long as you're present. But how does it work when it didn't do it in front of you even? Right? Right. So there is an idea of something in halakha called zachin ladam shelo b'fanav. Let's say Someone says that they're walking down the street and they say they see an item, not a lost item. You even know it's there. The owner knows it's there. They forgot it or something. They were going to come back for it. And someone says, look, I'm here from Eggett. You don't take it out of here, or they come for the police. I'm going to take it out of here. Sorry, Charlie. So, you might say, well, maybe if I take it, maybe I'll be responsible for it now. Maybe he doesn't want it. Maybe he left it there on purpose for someone else to pick it up. So, Zachin Ladam Shalom B'fanav, I would assume that he would want me to take it and protect his product and his merchandise. Therefore, I can do that. Someone says, hey, David's not here. I was going to give him $100 because he was such a nice guy. Oh, well, I'll put it back. I said, no, I'll take it to him, right? You assume that someone would want you to act to their benefit on your behalf. So when it comes to certain things, and it's a very limited thing that you can do on behalf of other people for a mitzvah to help them. There are things, though, that we have to either see, hear, eat, taste in order to be yotzei. So I cannot say I'm being mizaka everyone in the city for Tkiyat Shofar Rosh Hashanah and blow it in my house. It doesn't work that way because you have a mitzvah lishmoa kol shofar. Very good question. Are you allowed to be motzi somebody? Can you notice if God forbid Mr. X's death, can he blow shofar for somebody? Because technically he's patur for the mitzvah, right? That's what I say. But I'm saying, you're talking about the person blowing the shofar? A person listening doesn't have a mitzvah to hear the shofar if they're deaf. There's no mitzvah. There's no mitzvah. A person is patur from mitzvah. Women are paturot from mitzvah shofar, even though they take upon themselves to always go. But a person who's right, so there are all kinds of things. There's also a bunch of svarim that have to do with person's blind, person's deaf, what mitzvot they're patur from, what they're chayav still to do. Like for example, would they say the morning pokeach ivrim? He's the one who opens the eyes of the blind. The answer is yes, for various reasons, because he is, right? And there are times when a person who's blind is patur from certain mitzvot, and certain ones is chayav. Certain ones comes from a person who's deaf. Some yes, some no. It depends on specific mitzvot, what's involved in the mitzvah, right? Like a person who can't smell, they can't make a bori minei b'samim, bori atzev b'samim, bori isbei b'samim. They can't make the bar because they can't smell. That was a big question. I had a bunch of people during Corona. What do I do? Well, if someone else is there, they make the bracha. If you're alone, you don't make it. It's not ma'akev. It doesn't prevent you from finishing havdalah. The only thing that's ma'akev that makes the havdalah incomplete and you can't do it is if you don't have at least grape juice, beer, wine, something like that, and a candle. If you don't have b'samim, it's not ma'akev. You still make it. And some other time you can always make bracha. Okay. So let's come back to this so that we are able to be mezakeh somebody for something that we aren't in front of them to do. That's what this paragraph is about to talk about now when it talks about our mitzvot in general. When I do a mitzvah, I don't say this for every mitzvah, but certain ones, especially before davening, right? And whether it's the Ashkenazi way of saying it or the Sfaradi way of saying it, whether it's Hineni Muchanum Zuman L'Kayim Mitzvah to say Shel, or it's a different formula, it will say V'Shem Kol Yisrael. I'm doing it in the name of all of Israel. Does that mean because I put on tefillin now and I say that you guys don't have to put on tefillin? Of course not. But what it does is that it adds to your zechuyot when I say that because I'm having you in mind in a sense that you're getting a little piece of my mitzvah. And by doing that, I'm raising kvod shamayim. I'm doing that as well. Take a look inside. You're working in your actions for the benefit of your generation. That this is what I mentioned, how I described it as very minimal. Now he's talking for a chassid, that everything she does should be also in mind, it should be for the benefit of the entire generation. That will cause them to be merited by this, and to protect them. Who inyan hakatuv is what it a person who really is an ignoramus. That the bracha should not be light in your eyes. Someone gives you a bracha, great. I've had people, I've been on trips with Reform rabbis who, there's a question if they're Jewish, not forget rabbi, right? Hopefully they're Jewish. They give me, oh, this is, do this, you be matzliach. Great. Awesome. I got a bracha. Would I rather have it from some Hasidic Rebbe or from my own grandfather? Yeah, of course. Okay. So 2 takeaways. I thought we were going to finish the paragraph. Obviously didn't. 2 takeaways. Number 1, lo alechem lacha ligmor. You don't have to finish the job. But what's the word? You're not free to just say, no, it's not my job. He's no my own, right? Can't say that. The other hand is, imagine the amazing things you could do for Am Yisrael, for Kvod Shemayim, Kvod Yerushalayim, Kvod Eretz Yisrael, by standing up for Israel in any sviva, any environment you might find yourself in, whether it's online, in person, WhatsApp group, friends, family. And that's what this is talking about here. We will be